I'm Heath Lambert. You're listening to Marked by Grace, a podcast applying the grace of Jesus to all of life. Can you buy life insurance and still trust God? That's the question you sent in this week that I'm taking on Marked by Grace. If you've got another question or issue you'd like me to address, you can send that in to markedbygrace@fbcjax.com. That's markedbygrace@fbcjax.com. Let me read you the question that you sent in. It's a lengthier question. I'm not going to read everything, but just so you get the full context, it says, are you not trusting God for provision if you get life insurance? Talks about got children, no family around, and one of you wants to get life insurance, but the other one says if we get life insurance, we're going to be living out of fear and not trusting God. And so the real issue is, so if we get life insurance, are we not trusting God? Okay, well, let me talk about a couple of things there and say that it certainly is possible that a desire to have life insurance would be driven by fear. That's not out of the realm of possibility. We can imagine a world where a person who's crippled by fear, driven by fear, is using the purchase of life insurance as one way to manifest that fear. But it also is not necessarily the case that a desire to get life insurance would be driven by sinful fear. That's not necessarily the case. There are other really good reasons why a person might want to get life insurance. And let me ask you to consider three passages of Scripture as we think about some of the good motivations that would drive the purchase of life insurance that is not a fearful one. Proverbs 22 verse 3 says, "The prudent sees danger and hides himself, but the simple goes on and suffers for it." This is not a passage of Scripture about life insurance. It's a passage of Scripture about somebody who sees the risk of danger, wisely seeks protection against the danger, and is commended for it, versus the fool who sees the danger but doesn't seek protection. And the point of the Bible passage here is there's just no reason for you to sit there and suffer when you see danger coming. You might as well seek protection from the danger and avoid suffering needlessly. This has an obvious application to life insurance. We're all going to die. Death is coming. That is danger that we can see coming. And it's good and right, not fearful at all, but it's an evidence of wisdom to seek protection from that. All right, another Bible passage. As I said three, that's the first one. The second one is Proverbs chapter 6, verses 6-8. "Go to the ant, O sluggard, consider her ways and be wise. Without having any chief officer or ruler, she prepares her bread in summer and gathers her food in harvest." Okay, also not a life insurance passage, but it's a passage that says you should work hard to prepare for a need that is coming. It's a passage that teaches we are wise when we plan now for a need that is coming later. What's amazing about Proverbs chapter 6, verses 6-8, which tells us to prepare for a need that's coming, is it comes just, the page before I turned one page in my Bible to get to Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5, which says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him and he will make your path straight." If you stop reading Proverbs at chapter 3, verse 5, you might say, well, we don't need to work hard to plan for a coming need. We were just told in Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5, to trust in the Lord with all of our heart. But when you keep reading the book of Proverbs, you find out that your effort to prepare for a coming need is not at all at odds with trusting in the Lord your God with all your heart. Third passage, final passage that we'll look at is 2 Thessalonians chapter 3, verse 10 says, "If anyone is not willing to work, let him not eat." Okay, not a life insurance passage, but a passage that tells us to prepare, again, for a coming need. If you want to eat here in a little bit, you need to work to be able to pay for it. And actually, this is in the same testament, the New Testament, where Jesus tells us in Matthew 6, verse 11, that we're supposed to pray that God would give us this day our daily bread. So what do? Do we go with Matthew 6:11? God, we need you to give us our bread. Or do we go with 2 Thessalonians 3:10? If we don't work, we won't eat. Well, we don't pick and choose. We say God inspired both of these passages, and it's able to trust in the Lord to provide our bread, and we must work for our bread. And the two go together. In fact, what you find out is it's actually presuming upon the Lord that he would just give you whatever you need. He would just give you your food without you working for it. It's presuming upon the Lord to think that your needs in the future, Proverbs chapter 6, Proverbs chapter 22, are just going to be taken care of without your investment. There is a way for you to work hard. There's a way for you to invest. There is a way for you to plan that is actually characterized by trust in the Lord and not at odds with it. Life insurance is just a way to plan for a future danger, a future need that is coming. And there is nothing about that future planning that is at odds with trusting in the Lord. This kind of future planning is taught all through the Bible. Let me say one last word. Let me say one last word to husbands. Husbands and fathers. We are the ones who are given in the New Testament responsibility to make provision for the physical needs of our family. I actually think that the provision of life insurance is an act of love for our wives. Ephesians chapter 5:25 says, "Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church." We're supposed to love our wives sacrificially to our own hurt. The question as it comes this week is life insurance at odds with trusting the Lord? It's not necessarily the case that a person who wants to get life insurance is characterized by fear, but here's the other side. It's also not necessarily the case that the person who doesn't want life insurance is characterized by trust. It's not necessarily the case. You could be not wanting to get life insurance, and the motivation for that is not trust in the Lord, but is something else. You might be, as I said a moment ago, you might be presuming on the Lord. You might be trusting in the Lord for a guarantee that he has not given. Just because the average American male lives to 79 doesn't mean you will, doesn't mean I will. It is because of that. Because of the need that our wives have to receive our love and our care, we have life insurance at the Lambert. In fact, we have life insurance on me at First Baptist Church. If I die tomorrow, my wife is the beneficiary of a life insurance policy, and First Baptist Church is a beneficiary of a life insurance policy for me because I love these people. I'm called to care for these people, and one of the ways very practically I can do that is by providing some financial means of assistance in the event that I die. I think we provide for our wives' needs in our lives because we love them. And I think we should try to find a way to provide for our wives' needs in the event that we would die. If I die before my work is finished, if you die before your work is finished, we place our wives at risk. We place our wives in a situation where they're going to have to figure stuff out that I don't think we want them to figure out. We're going to force them to make decisions that I don't think we want them to make if we're really honest. And so what life insurance does is it is an opportunity for me or for you to pay someone else to assume the risk so our wife doesn't have to. That's not an attitude of distrust. That's an attitude of love. And I think anyone who can do that should probably try.